right, let's jump into another deep dive. Got a really interesting one lined up for y'all today. We're going to take a look at Jay-Z.
Ooh.
And specifically, all these dealings. You know, all the business stuff.
The business of Jay-Z.
Yeah. And we got a ton of stuff to go through, actually. You guys had a bunch of articles, news pieces, even saw some of the social media buzz.
It's all over the place.
It is, and it paints this really fascinating picture, honestly. What we're going to try and do today is kind of trace his path, you know, from going from a hustler on the street to this legitimate business mogul, and maybe figure out, like, if there even is a clear line between the two.
Yeah, that's what really gets me with Jay-Z, right? It's like this paradox. He's this self-made billionaire, a hip-hop icon, and yet you always hear these questions like about his methods, Is he really this brilliant entrepreneur who just kind of plays the game a little differently?
Right.
Or is there more to the story, something a little less clean?
Yeah. It really does feel like he's almost living two lives, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I guess that's kind of our mission today, is to figure out how those two lives connect.
If they connect at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And to do that, I think we got to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Jay-Z's roots back in Brooklyn. Bed-Stuy. Right. That's like key to understanding, I think, his whole trajectory. This is the 80s, right? Tough neighborhood, street culture's potent.
Yeah. Like incredibly potent. And that's where, Jay-Z kind of had to hone his survival instincts.
Had to.
It wasn't just like a side gig.
Right.
Hustling was a way of life.
Yeah, he's pretty open about that. I mean, he's rapped about it, his early involvement with dealing.
Right.
And it's crucial, I think, to remember that context. For Jay-Z, it wasn't just about money. It was about navigating, like, a system that felt stacked against him.
Oh, absolutely.
It was about control, agency in a place with, not a lot of opportunities.
Okay, so how did he transition that? All those street smarts, that hustler's mentality into a legitimate business career. Let's talk about Roc-A-Fella Records.
Okay.
Because that story just feels like it came straight out of, the hustler's playbook.
It really is. I mean, him, Dame Dash, Kareem Burke, they knew the power of image. They used it brilliantly. Flashy clothes, cars. They were in the clubs.
Yeah, they just had this aura, like they'd made it.
Right.
Even though they were still selling records out of their trunk.
Out of the trunk.
I mean, it's just audacious, right?
It is.
They basically faked it till they made it, and it worked.
Totally. Major labels see the hype, they hear the buzz, suddenly Jay-Z's the guy,
Yeah, and this is where I think all those street smarts come into play. Because he knew his worth. He didn't just take any record deal.
Yeah.
He pushed. And he got that 50-50 with Universal.
It's unprecedented.
It was huge. He just didn't see deals like that back then. That meant control over his music, over his earnings.
It sent shockwaves through the industry, really signaled a shift.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Artists wanted more control.
More ownership.
Yeah. But it also set up a pattern.
Oh, yeah.
That would keep repeating itself.
What do you mean?
Throughout his whole career. It begs the question, is he a savvy businessman? Or is he willing to kind of bend the rules a little bit?
Right.
To get what he wants.
Right. Maybe even break them.
Right. And you sent me some sources that raised some serious questions about some of his business dealings.
Yeah.
Like there's allegations of financial misconduct, intellectual property disputes, even these whispers about potential connections to some illegal activities.
Now, this is where we get into the murky waters. Speculation, allegation.
Right.
We got to be careful here. Concrete evidence is often missing.
Okay, so let's break it down. When you say financial misconduct, what are we talking about specifically?
Well, there's been lawsuits, accusations over the years.
Okay.
There was a case with a clothing line where he was accused of not paying his partners their fair share of the profits. And there's also been allegations that he's used his influence to, pressure artists into bad deals.
So it's like this pattern of using his power, his influence, to kind of benefit himself.
Yeah.
Even if it means others lose out.
Potentially, yeah. And that seems to repeat itself in other ventures, too. Take Tidal, for example.
Oh, Tidal, yeah. It started with so much promise.
It did.
It was all about championing artists' rights, fairer compensation, greater control. I mean, he had Beyonce, Rihanna, all these huge names.
And yet, what happened? He sold it. To Jack Dorsey Square made a hefty profit, left some artists feeling betrayed.
It feels like that hustler's playbook again, doesn't it? Create the hype, use your relationships, and then ultimately play the game to your advantage, even
if it means others get left behind.
Yeah. And that's the question, right? Where's the line? Is this just being a savvy business person, or is this something more ethically questionable?
It's a tough one. It's hard to reconcile the Jay-Z we see. The self-made success story.
Yeah.
This icon of Black excellence with these allegations of shady dealings,
Yeah. It's definitely complex. It raises some really important questions, though.
It does.
About the nature of success, the price of ambition.
What are we willing to overlook when someone achieves what Jay-Z has?
Right. That wealth and influence. I mean, wow.
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack, and that's where public perception gets really interesting, right? It's like, how do people react to all of this? You've got those diehard fans. They see Jay-Z as a hero
Symbol
of Black excellence. He beat the odds, achieved the American dream. Those fans, they tend to just dismiss these allegations, It's like, it's jealousy or people trying to tear him down.
Oh, for sure. But then you have the critics.
Right.
And they see a different story.
They do.
They see someone who exploits people to get ahead, whether it's business partners, other artists, even the fans who felt misled with that whole title thing.
Oh, yeah. And then you throw in social media.
Oh, man.
It just adds a whole other layer.
It's a whirlwind.
It is. TikTok's got conspiracy theories linking him and Beyonce to every scandal.
It's crazy.
And then Twitter, Reddit, it's all these debates about, is he legit or is he a manipulator?
It's like everyone's trying to figure out who the real Jay-Z is.
Right. Is he the rags to riches hero or is he this ruthless businessman?
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that's what makes him so compelling. It's that ambiguity.
Right.
He's got these contradictions of capitalism, of the American dream, built this incredible success. But then you look at the methods and it's like, wait a minute.
It raises those uncomfortable questions.
About ambition, about what we sacrifice to get ahead, what are we willing to overlook?
And it's not just the recent stuff, right?
Yeah.
Even going back to Roc-A-Fella, there's people who say he kind of pushed out Dame Dash.
Oh, yeah, Dame was crucial in building that label.
Yeah, but there's this idea that Jay-Z, even though he's super talented and driven, that he might use people as stepping stones. And once they've served their purpose,
they're gone.
So we see this pattern, right? It starts with the hustling on the street.
Right.
Moves into the music industry. He's pushing boundaries.
Bending the rules.
Maybe even crossing the line sometimes into illegal stuff.
Got to emphasize, though, a lot of this is still unproven.
Right.
But there's just so many accusations.
That's a lot.
From all these different people over so many years.
It's hard to ignore.
It really is. It's like putting together this puzzle, One piece alone, maybe it doesn't say much.
Yeah.
But you put them all together and there's a pattern.
So how does all of this affect his legacy? I mean, he's built this empire.
Yeah.
This image of success, power.
Can he maintain that if these allegations keep swirling?
It's the billion-dollar question. What happens next? Does he address it?
Does more evidence come out?
Or does he just, ride it out?
And what about the fans? Do they stick with him? Or will this shake their faith?
I honestly don't know where this is going.
It's fascinating to me. This isn't just about Jay-Z. This is about the whole myth of the self-made man, the allure of money, power. It's about these ethical dilemmas.
Yeah. When the system rewards ambition above everything else, you hit the nail on the head. It really makes you think about the price of success.
Yeah. What are we willing to give up to achieve our dreams? Where's that line between ambition and doing the right thing?
Exactly.
And these are questions we all got to face.
Right. Not just about Jay-Z.
In our own lives, too.
Okay. So after all this deep dive, are we any closer to answering that question? Brilliant entrepreneur or master manipulator?
I don't think it's that simple. It's this mix of ambition, talent, and, operating in the gray areas.
Definitely operating in the gray.
He's found success, for sure. But it's that question that lingers. At what cost?
And that's what we'll leave you all with today.
Yeah.
Does Jay-Z's story show us the American dream, that hustle and resilience?
Or does it show the darker side, where getting rich overshadows everything else?
Ooh, that's heavy.
It's a question we're thinking about, and not just about Jay-Z.
Right.
About ourselves, too. What compromises are we making? Where's our line?
Yeah. Big questions.
They are.
But that's what these deep dives are all about, right? Challenge our thinking, make us uncomfortable.
And hopefully come at a little more aware, understand the world a bit better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for diving in.
We hope this got you thinking. And maybe, take a closer look at the people and systems we just accept without really questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And until next time, keep questioning everything. It's a lot to think about, It doesn't feel like we've even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's just so much to unpack with Jay-Z and his story.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know if there even is a clear answer. Like, that line between being a hustler and being a businessman,
Right.
I'm not sure it's so clear, especially in his case.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Jay-Z, isn't it? It's this constant tension, this blurring of the lines. Like, he took what he learned in Brooklyn on the streets and just applied it to business.
Right.
But on this massive scale. And that's where, things get a little messy.
Because those street smarts, that whole hustler mentality,
Yeah.
it can be good, but it can also be bad.
It can be a real double-edged sword.
Right. It can bring you huge success, but it can also lead to these choices that are maybe
Questionable.
yeah, questionable, potentially even harmful.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, it's not just about him, this whole hustle harder thing.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Everyone's doing it. But where do we draw the line? When does ambition become, something else, something not so great?
And can you even get to that level? Build an empire like Jay-Z's without making some compromises along the way. It's tough.
It's a tough question. No easy answers.
It's a question we all kind of got to wrestle with, in our own lives. Like, as we're going after our own goals, how do we stay true to ourselves?
How do we even define what success means?
Big stuff to think about.
For sure.
But that's what I like about these deep dives, We're thinking critically.
Challenging what we believe.
Maybe even facing some uncomfortable truths.
And coming out of it, hopefully,
Yeah.
with a little more awareness, a little understanding of how it all works,
Absolutely. Well, thanks for diving deep with us today, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope this got you thinking and maybe, inspired you to take a closer look at the people and systems we just kind of accept without questioning them.
Question everything.
Until next time, keep questioning everything.